Hey, it's me, Marty Leonards, and we are in the bowels of Thalia Hall, kind of a dungeon-like place, but very comfortable, and also has a lot of character just outside the entertainer's green room, what it says on the wall, and we're just hours before. The record company hit the stage again for their second of two sold-out XRT shows here at Thalia Hall, and actually just minutes before XRT's live from Studio X performance with the band, and really happy to be sitting here right now with Chris Voss of the record company. Chris, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Thanks for the opportunity to talk here today with you.
You bet, man. There's so much to talk with you about. What a year this has been for the record company. I mean, it was only just a little over a year ago when you guys played your shows here in Chicago, the XRT shows on St. Patrick's Day and opening day, and now here we are, you know, just a year later with big shows like this. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's thanks to XRT, and you know, it's been a really amazing growth period here in Chicago. I grew up with XRT. I grew up on the border of Wisconsin and Illinois. So when we first got played on XRT, that was like, I remember when I got the call from our manager that we were getting played on XRT, I told him nothing else is going to, and I meant it, I was like, nothing else is going to excite me as much as this. Because, you know, I always loved the station because you could hear Wilco and then Muddy Waters in the same hour. You know, I mean, it was just a great station. It is a great station. So to have a piece of that is amazing, and it's definitely a big reason why, you know, if not the reason why we're sitting here today with this conversation, you know, talking about two sold-out nights here, and we've never done that before. So that's really something else, especially at a place like this. Such a beautiful place. If you haven't ever been down here, this is, how long have they been doing this? A couple of years here, right?
Yeah, it's been open for a few years. It was closed. It was closed for many, many years. This was like a Czech opera house that was built by Czechoslovakian immigrants when they moved to Pilsen, and it sat dormant for a long, long time. But here we are now. Yeah,
we got a lot of comments from people online and in person about how beautiful it is here. The sound is impeccable. So if you've never come down here and seen a show, you should. It's a heck of a building in Chicago here. I mean, I'm telling you, world class.
Well, you pretty much answered one of the questions I wanted to ask you, and that was about the radio station, your relationship with XRT. And I wanted to know, like, what artists that you heard on XRT inspired you to pretty much do what you were doing. And you mentioned Wilco and Muddy Waters in the same breath, and that kind of shows the breadth of the radio station, you know?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, you know, all the way back to when I was just a youngster and would hear Urge Overkill or the Pumpkins, you know, before they really broke out. And it was, you know, trying to get on the local show on Sunday nights was like a goal. You know, we were trying. I don't know if you still do that on Sundays,
local
but
anesthetic.
Yeah, okay, yeah, local anesthetic. I can't tell you how many CDs I stuck in the mail to try and get on local anesthetic back in the day. But yeah, no, it's just you used to have an old bed that ran, and I wish it would say something like, it would play like a Radiohead song. It's like, only one station will play this, and it'll play, like, I think it was Radiohead or Smashing Pumpkins or something, into this, and then it was like Muddy Waters or Howlin' Wolf, and it's like, we're the only station that plays them all. And it was just it had that guy you have do all your voice. It was just the coolest thing. I remember that was actually, we were driving through Chicago playing like at the Cubby Bear or something. That actually got a cheer out of the group when we were, you know, kids just driving around. It's a great place to be. And I worked at a little radio station in high school. That's what really got me started, because I started on a farm and we didn't have the internet yet out there. So I was getting my music the old-fashioned way, and XRT really helped a lot because we could get the signal, you know, where I was.
Well, we're really happy that you guys have pretty much in the last year become, the record company has become the XRT house band. I mean, you've done so many shows for us. You've done more shows for us than you've actually played conventional shows in Chicago, you know. So I know it's really exciting for you guys to be here at Thalia Hall for these shows, but it's exciting for us as well. And you've given us such great music over the last year. You know, the album has been a staple on the radio station.
That's a dream come true, man. And thank you to all the listeners. You guys have been amazing in supporting us and the station for, how many years you guys been on the air now?
Over 40.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing, you know. And we appreciate it. So it's not lost on us how special this is, and you know, we appreciate it, Marty.
Well, you know, there's so many great things about the record company that you guys have embraced. Again, the music of Chicago, the blues. How did you get turned on to the blues? Partially through listening to XRT, but also like you really dug deep, and you know a lot of these classic Chicago artists from you know, Muddy to Magic Sam to Jimmy Reed is a big artist you really like.
I'm a colossal Jimmy Reed fan. I have everything he ever released as far as I know. If something comes around where I find out he played on it, I find it, you know. But yeah, you know, Jimmy Rogers, Otis Spann, the whole Muddy group, all those guys, you know, Little Walter and everything. But also outside of that, like guys like Hound Dog Taylor, Luther Snake Boy Johnson. I've been getting into him lately. He's really cool. So it's, you know, it's a big deal to play Chicago for us. You know, it is in the 2120 North Michigan Chess Studios.
Blocks from here.
Yeah, I mean, that's like, I remember when I was, first gig I played in Chicago, I went, we were playing Cubby Bear. I was 20 years old, and I went down, my brother and I went down to Chess and just kind of held our hands against the building, you know, because we were just like, I can't believe this building is here, and what walked through that building, right. You know, everybody from Chuck Berry to, you know, on down. So, yeah, man, I mean, we love that stuff, and I'm a dork for music history. I want to know who my heroes listen to and who their heroes listen to all the way back to till music started, and basically Alan Lomax recordings and beyond, you know, the Field Howlers and stuff like that. So it's cool stuff.
Yeah. Well, you can hear that in your music because you do have, you know, electric blues happening combined with rock and a lot of acoustic stuff, which really sounds nice. Yeah, and you're doing more acoustic things in your show now, right? You're doing an acoustic set?
Yeah, we wanted to do something a little different. You know, our set's now 90 minutes, and we tend to be pretty high energy set. But, you know, for 90 minutes, it's nice to have some, you know, some ebbs and some flows. So we did throw a center section in the set for this tour where we do a couple of songs where we break it down. Our drummer Mark's a really great piano player, and Alex can play the guitar great. So Alex will play like kick drum and tambourine with his feet, and Mark plays piano, Alex plays guitar, and we just bust it down like to the barest elements, you know. And
you're working some new songs into the set as well, right?
Yeah, we've been doing some new music that we've been working on. Tonight we're going to actually bust out some older stuff that we haven't played in a long time, just to, you know, in case there are some repeat customers. We don't want them to feel like they're seeing the same show twice. So, yeah, it's going to be fun.
Now, your first record, the debut, was recorded in a living room, like in a living room in a house, in your house. Yeah. Was that your house?
Was Alex's, our bass players, yeah.
Well, I know that, you know, you've been playing these songs and touring. I don't know how much time you've had to really start thinking about going back into the studio, but how are you going to do it for the second record?
Well, we've recorded half the record, I think, maybe a little less than half, depends on how many tracks we end up with, but really happy with what we've got, and we recorded them in that same living room. Baby I'm Broken, which was a track you were just talking about with me before we started here, that's our newest single that came out. That actually we recorded in the living room, but we had a guy named Vance Powell. For the first time, we had somebody else mix our stuff because we mixed all our own stuff. And Vance just did the new Chris Stapleton record. He did a lot of the Jack White stuff. He's just a really tremendous guy, and he got our sound, and he had a different take on it, and it was really cool to have that happen sometimes, you know. So I don't know if we'll have him or somebody else mix it, but we're definitely laying all the beds in the studio right now in the living room.
Yeah. That's so cool. I was talking with someone at the radio station who met George Thorogood recently. George Thorogood came and performed on our stage for one of the other radio stations that we're associated with, that's part of our thing. And John Lee Hooker came up in the conversation, and Thorogood said that he did meet John Lee Hooker once, but all Hooker wanted to talk about was baseball.
Well, I know that when Muddy Waters was a big White Sox fan, you know, so I think those guys all loved baseball back in the day, just listening to it on radio, you know, as they, you know, they play every night, so there was day games, and they'd listen to the day games. But I'd have no problem with that. Talking a little baseball, it's always fun to do that. And you guys have a really good team in this city now.
We do. They're winning today.
Yeah. So there you go. You guys are on the right track with that.
That's pretty cool. On a related note, you guys have been traveling around a lot. You meet a lot of people, maybe people that you never imagined in a million years you'd be sharing a stage with, or just hanging around backstage and after a show. And in a situation like that, is there have you met any of your real heroes?
Yes, absolutely. Which is one of the most rewarding things about this. From guys like Buddy Guy. B.B. King before he passed. Mavis Staples has become a friend, which is, growing up on the Staples singers. Well, not really growing up on it. I'll be honest, I found them a little later, but kind of felt like I grew up on it. I was pretty early in self-discovery of that. But Pop Staples is one of my favorite singers of all time. He's just so cool, and Mavis, of course. And then getting me. I played with Warren Haynes a couple of times. He's invited me on stage. People like that. There's no. You're learning so much in their presence. There's no price for that, and you're a fan, so it's exhilarating. To get that chance. But when Warren invited me up to play, I was just like, well, I hope this is an easy song, because I'm like, they're not going to pull out Rush 2112 on me or something in Government Mule, but they took it easy on me, so it was good.
It all makes sense, because that's why you're friends with the radio station, why we play your records, and why we like doing these shows, because, it's nice. It's nice, so, sure.
Feeling's mutual. Feeling is very mutual, and, I am not embarrassed at all for my fandom of Chicago music or XRT and everything that this city's brought into my life. Detroit kind of gave me, John Lee Hooker and the MC5 and the Stooges, which, is a big part of what we love. But Chicago has got so much soul, and I've spent so much time listening to Chicago music, and I just adore it. So.
Well, got a big show tonight here on the big stage at Thalia Hall in the Studio X in just a few minutes. The Studio X, by the way, we're recording for a future broadcast, and it's really going to be great. We're going to chat with the band a little more and have some songs for some listeners. And, wow, so thanks a lot, Chris. Just have a great, great night, man. Thanks a lot for stopping by and talking with us.
Thank you, and thanks to you all. We appreciate it. And I'm a farm guy, so I say thank you a lot. It's just the way I was raised. But I mean, I generally mean it. I genuinely mean it to you all. So thank you for it, man.
I'm Marty Leonards for 93XRT.com.